This is Jarrod Horak, and I'm back with my second handicapping video at Churchill Downs this week for Saturday, September 28th. I took a look at the Grade 3 ACAC Stakes in my first video this week. That race is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. And now I'm going to take a look at the Grade 2 Lukas Classic, this $500,000 race. It is not a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic, but the winner could end up going in the Breeders' Cup Classic if they're impressive in this race. So if you're interested in my full card analysis at Santa Anita Park, you'll find those autumn meet full cards at the runawayhorse.com on my sales page, and you can purchase individual full cards, weekly and weekend packages, and the entire meet. Go over to the runawayhorse.com on my sales page for more details. I've been doing these Southern California full cards from Santa Anita, Del Mar for many years, since the late 1990s. I have a lot of success in California, and I'm looking forward to this Santa Anita meet since the Breeders' Cup's at Del Mar. So these Southern California prep races could have more implications since that Breeders' Cup's right at Del Mar on November 1st and 2nd. And I'm also going to be doing my annual 2-day Breeders' Cup full cards as well, along with that whole Del Mar fall meet. And go over to the runawayhorse.com on my sales page for more details. And you can also purchase my full cards at todaysracingdigest.com. And now we will dive into the analysis of this race. $500,000 Grade 2 Lukas Classic is the 10th race on Saturday, September 28th, and it's for 3-year-olds and up. They're going to be traveling that mile and an eighth on the main track with a scheduled post time of 10:40 p.m. Eastern Time. And Stilleto, boy, he could end up showing some speed. He's drawn down on the inside. He's one that used to be a decent sort, but he's lost his way recently. He won the Santa Anita Handicap at Grade 1 in 2023, and then in the Oak Lawn Handicap, he was third beaten the neck that same year. And then in the Pacific Classic, he had an awkward start. He eased, he walked off, and he hasn't been the same since then. 9th by 36 in the Grade 1 Awesome again. The Grade 2 San Antonio, he was 5th, beaten 7. And then in 2 starts this year, the San Pasquale at Grade 2, he stalked, he faded, he was beaten 14 lengths, he ran last. He was 7th of 9, beaten 7 lengths in an allowance race on turf at Kentucky Downs last time out. So now coming off of his second start after a layoff, back on dirt, back around 2 turns, inside post. He has speed. I would expect that they're going to try to use it in here, but he would need a big reversal. As I said, he has that back class, but his recent form is suspect. Number 2, Rattle and Roll. He hasn't been seen in more than a year, September of 2023, in that Lukas Classic. So he ran in the Lukas Classic a year ago, and he was 4th in that 8-horse field. He was the beaten favorite that day. The big problem with him is 2 things. Number 1, the long layoff. And then number 2, his running style. He likes to come from far out of it. And I don't see a lot of pace in this race. He's had 7 starts at Churchill, 3 wins, a second and 2/3. And he's won a couple races at this distance. He's a multiple graded stakes winner. He won the Grade 3 Ben Ali, Grade 3 Pimlico Special, Grade 3 Blaine Stakes last year. And then he was 2nd in the Stephen Foster. And then he went off form, finishing up the track in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. And then in the Lukas Classic, he was 4th of 8. So for Rattle and Roll, the layoff, the lack of speed is a concern. Maybe he'll need this race and then move forward next time. Happy American, another one that is at the mercy of the pace. 5 for 31 veteran. He's banked more than $670,000. 9 starts at Churchill, 3 wins and 3/3. And then he's won once at this distance with 2/3. He does like to run third. 9 starts in 2023 with a win and 3/3. This year he's 0 for 7 with 3 third-place finishes. So if you're going to use him at all, you probably want to use him in third. And that's exactly where he finished in the Cowboy Jones Stakes behind Saudi Crown at 61-1 last time out. So he will try to get involved late, but I'm not going to recommend betting him. But as I said, if you are going to play him, maybe throw him in third in a trifecta, and maybe he'll just sneak up and hit the board again. Cooke Creek could be the controlling speed in here for trainer Mike Maker. This is a gelded son of Uncle Mo. Luis Saez is going to ride here. And he's 2 for 5 at Churchill, and he has 1 victory in 7 starts at this distance with 2 third-place finishes. 5 for 20 overall, and he won his last 3 starts. In a claiming $40,000 dirt route at Churchill Downs on May 27th, he wired the field, and Mike Maker claimed him that day for $40,000. And then in his last 2 starts, optional claiming $80,000 company at Churchill Downs on June 29th. He stalked the pace. He won by more than 5. The runner-up was a next out winner. And Cooke Creek was a next out winner. He wired the field last time out in the slop at Saratoga at 1 1/8 miles. He's one that does have backlash. You have to go back pretty far. He had some success in the stakes ranks earlier in his career. As a 2-year-old, he was a stakes winner. And then as a 3-year-old, he was stakes placed once. But since then, he hasn't been able to threaten stakes company. Like in the Grade 3 Blame Stakes last year, he wasn't any threat against this kind of company. So Cooke Creek, I like his ability to get out there early. Luis Saez will get aboard. He's an aggressive rider. He will probably put him on the lead, take him as far as he can, but I don't know that he can last all the way. Disarm is next, and he's a win contender in here for trainer Steve Asmussen. This 4-year-old son of Gun Runner, he's banked more than $1.26 million in 13 starts. 3 wins, 3 seconds, 3/3. He's 1 for 4 at Churchill, 1 for 4 at this distance. And I think he's getting a bit of class relief in here in the Grade 1 Jockey Club Gold Cup last time out. He was off a step slow. He saved some ground. He was able to just get third there. No threat to the top 2 finishers. And that 1.25-mile race, the final quarter was run in 27 and change. So they were really not coming home fast at all. And Disarm was just able to get third. In the Whitney before that, in the mud, he was 4th in a 10-horse field. Got going too late. Stephen Foster, he was 6th, well beaten. And then prior to that, his first start this year, optional claiming race at Churchill. He wired the field, but the fractions were 25, 52, 116. He's not really a speed horse, now taking blinkers off. I don't expect him to be up on the pace, but he'll probably be within hailing distance throughout. Tyler Gaffalione will get aboard. He did have success as a 3-year-old, 2nd in the Louisiana Derby, 3rd in the Lexington Stakes, 4th in the Kentucky Derby, 1st in the Matt Winn, 2nd in the Travers Stakes, but he just hasn't been able to move forward as a 4-year-old this year. Hit Show had some success as a 3-year-old last year as well for trainer Brad Cox, and Florent Giroux is his rider. He won the Grade 3 Withers and then finished 2nd by a nose in the Wood Memorial. He was 5th in an 18-horse field in the Kentucky Derby, and then in the Belmont Stakes he was 4th. The Jim Dandy was 5th, Oklahoma Derby he was 6th, returned from a layoff, his first start as a 4-year-old. He put blinkers on. Actually, he put blinkers on in the Oklahoma Derby, and then he took blinkers off in his first start this year in that optional claiming race at Churchill Downs, and he won that race. The pace was lively, 47, 110, and in that 1.125-mile race, he was chasing the pace, and he was able to win by 2.25 lengths as the favorite. He had Lasix that day. He didn't have Lasix in the Cornhusker in his next start. That was a Grade 3. 7th of 10, never got involved, just a beaten favorite. The West Virginia Governor's Cup, a Grade 3 at Mountaineer last time. He put Lasix back on. He was able to rally for the win there. And now he's losing Lasix again in this spot. But he's run well without Lasix before, like he did in the Withers and the Wood Memorial. So maybe that's not a big issue for him. And he does have some tactical speed, and that could serve him well in this spot. Bolzy is next, and this is another son of Gun Runner. He's 2 for 8 overall. He won an allowance race at Oaklawn Park in January. The Razorback Stakes, he ended up finishing 4th in a 10-horse field. He was wide throughout from post 10, and that was February of 2024, and he hasn't been seen since then. He's got to overcome this layoff. He does have some stalking speed, and he is 1 for 1 at this distance. Warrior Johny is next, and he rounds out the field. In this one, Phil Bauer is the trainer. Jose Ortiz is going to ride. 4 for 21 with 3 seconds and 5/3. He's run 9 times at Churchill, 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. 2 for 6 at this distance with a 3rd place finish. And Warrior Johny with Jose Ortiz aboard will probably try to stalk the pace from the outside post. He's one that he finished behind Hit Show in that optional claiming race at Churchill on May 11th. He was beaten a bit less than 4 lengths, racing evenly. Then he was a close 3rd in his next start at Churchill. And then at Saratoga, he broke through with a big speed rating when he rallied from off the pace to win by 4. His last 2 stake starts, in the Grade 1 Whitney in the mud, he was 9th, beaten 26 lengths. Probably didn't like the wet track. He is over 4 on a wet track. And then in the Charlestown Classic last time, that half-mile bull ring oval, all horses don't handle that. He was 5th in a 10-horse field. Skippy Longstocking was able to win that race. So for Warrior Johny, from the outside post, I said he'll probably stalk. He handles this oval, he handles this distance, and he's one that if he can run back to that optional claiming race, he does have excuses in his last couple, as I said, that muddy track, speed favoring track in the Whitney, and then the Charlestown Classic, that odd bull ring track. So if you can excuse his last couple, maybe Warrior Johny can bounce back in this spot. For my top choice in here, I'm going to go with Hit Show. I like his relative consistency, 12 starts, 5 wins, and a second. And he's 2 for 3 this year. And I just think he's fresh. He's probably ready to run a decent race. I like the fact that he's versatile. He can stalk the pace. And I think Florindrew, his winning rider, will put him in a decent spot throughout. And he can pounce first and get the jump on some of the late runners. And then the other horses that I will use are the 8 Warrior Johny. I definitely consider him one that's interesting. Disarm, I'd like him a bit more underneath. And then Cooke Creek, your likely pace setter. I think maybe he can hit the board in here. So 6, 8, 5, 4, my top 4 in the Lukas Classic, and my suggested wagers: number 6 to win, exacta box 6, 8, trifecta 6, 8 with 4, 5, 6, 8 with 4, 5, 6, 8. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment if you like this horse racing content. And that will do it for my look at the Lukas Classic and the ACAC Stakes. I'm going to be covering plenty of stakes races in video format. Got a lot of Breeders' Cup prep races the last couple of weeks. Santa Anita is starting. We're going to have Keeneland starting next week. I'm going to be doing some Breeders' Cup preps from Aqueduct as well. So check out all that on my YouTube channel. Handicapping articles at todaysracingdigest.com for these Breeders' Cup prep races. So lots going on. My full card's resuming at Santa Anita. A lot of stuff going on now as we're getting into the fall. We're getting closer to the 2024 Breeders' Cup. And until I see you next time, good luck at the races.